Every year, on the exact same day, I sent my real estate agent a bouquet of flowers with a cryptic love note. 6 years later, his marriage was destroyed, his career was over, and his entire life had fallen apart. All without me ever lifting a finger in person. Here's how I did it. If you've ever been lied to, cheated out of something you worked hard for, or wished karma would finally catch up to someone who wronged you, this story is for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up, because this revenge was slow, patient, and devastatingly effective. 7 years ago, I did something I had been working toward for a decade. I bought my first home. I wasn't rich, and I didn't have anyone helping me financially. Every cent of that down payment was from my own hard work, my sacrifices, my skipped vacations, and years of saying no to nights out with friends. When I signed the papers, I cried. Not because I was sad, but because I was proud. This was my safe place, my home. But because I was buying solo, I had to compromise. I couldn't afford a giant house with land to spare. Instead, I found a small property on a shared block. But here's the key. It was listed as freehold title. For those who don't know, freehold means freedom. You own the property completely. No meddling neighbors. No surprise bylaws about what color you can paint your front door. No strata meetings about who left their trash bins out too long that I was happy. Until 5 months later, there was a knock at my door. It was the landlord of the neighboring property. We started talking about insurance for the shared walkway, and then he casually mentioned, "Oh yeah, we just renewed the strata insurance." My brain screeched to a halt. "Wait," I said, "strata? This isn't a strata property. It's freehold." The look he gave me made my stomach sink. I called my lawyer immediately. I emailed the real estate agent. I dug up the listing, and there it was in big, bold letters, freehold title. Except it wasn't. It never was. I hadn't bought freedom. I had bought into a strata block with all the rules, restrictions, and bureaucracy I had worked so hard to avoid that I remember sitting at my kitchen table that night, the house quiet around me, staring at the paperwork with my heart pounding in my chest. How could they have gotten this wrong? How could they have misled me? When I confronted the real estate agent, he refused to take responsibility. I laid out everything. The emails, the listing, even the correspondence between him and my lawyer where he explicitly called it freehold. His face stayed blank the whole time. Finally, he leaned back and said something that made my blood boil. "Look, I can give you $1,000 to make this go away. $1,000. That was his idea of making it right. I could have taken him to court. The mediator actually encouraged me to. But at the time, my health wasn't great, and the thought of a drawn-out legal battle was overwhelming, so I walked away. Outwardly, at least. Inside, I started plotting. I couldn't stop thinking about him, about how smug he'd looked sitting in that chair, offering me hush money like he was doing me a favor. Every time I paid a strata fee, every time I got an email about a meeting I didn't want to attend, every time some petty bylaw stopped me from living how I wanted, I thought of him. I didn't want to just get even. I wanted him to feel the weight of what he'd done. And then, I had an idea. I found his personal Facebook page. He was careless, everything was public. There were photos of him and his buddies on a boys' trip overseas just a few months after my purchase. I dug a little deeper and found his home address through a public business registration search. And that's when my slow burn revenge was born, on the 1-year anniversary of my purchase. The day I signed my life away to a property that wasn't what I thought it was. I sent him flowers, a dozen roses, with a note that read, "Dear agent's name, remembering you on this, our special day. She has your eyes. Love, L." And then I waited. The next year I sent another bouquet. Same date, slightly different wording, always signed Love, L. Year 3, I started adding postcards, handwritten, from the same country he'd visited on his boys' trip. Year 4, 5, 6, same thing. Different flowers, different notes, but always the same eerie message. Our special day. I never saw his reaction. But word started to travel through mutual acquaintances, people who knew him, people who knew me. Then, just a few weeks ago, I heard the full story. Apparently, after years of receiving these mysterious gifts, his wife finally confronted him. She pieced it together. The date, the trip, the notes implying a love child. And under pressure, he broke. He admitted to cheating on her, something she had long suspected but he had always denied. It gets worse. A year before I ever bought the house, he had gone on that trip, come back with an STD, and given it to his wife. He had somehow convinced her it wasn't from him. Now, she knew the truth. They divorced. He lost his house, half his retirement savings, and, as of recently, his career. He no longer works as a real estate agent. Do I feel guilty? Sometimes. But then I think about that smug little smile, that $1,000 shut up and go away offer, and I remember why I did this. Karma took 6 years, but when she arrived, she did not come quietly. And honestly, I don't regret a thing. 6 years of mysterious flowers and love notes finally forced him to confess his infidelity. His marriage collapsed. His career ended. Everything he valued crumbled. And I never even had to see his face again. Sometimes revenge isn't about screaming or fighting or lawsuits. Sometimes it's about patience, about letting the truth slowly unravel until it destroys the person who wronged you. Karma is patient, and so was I. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell me in the comments. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? And don't forget to subscribe. We've got more stories where karma serves justice better than any court ever could.